situation, Niger State Police Command said its personnel have arrested the village head of Guiwa community, Garba Mohammed, along with 13 others for allegedly supporting and shielding armed bandits operating in the Mashegu area of Niger State. In a statement by the command spokesperson Wasiu Abiodun, it was stated that the arrest occurred on Friday during a coordinated raid carried out by police operatives and local vigilante groups targeting known bandit camps and hideouts in Guiwa and Tele villages as part of an ongoing clearance operation. The statement further reveals that the arrested village head, Mohammed, was accused of offering sanctuary and logistical aid to the criminals. On 23rd May 2025 at about 9 a.m., in continuation of this operation, the team stormed Guiwa and Tele villages based on credible information received, and the Mai Angwan of Guiwa village, Malam Garba Mohammed, was arrested for screening and aiding banditry activities during using his house as a hideout. 4 motorcycles and 10 cattle were recovered from his custody, the statement said. Also, police operatives and vigilante members conducted clearance operations in some identified kidnappers' hideouts in Mashegu LGA as Magaman Daji Forest and its environs. During the operations, most of the suspected kidnappers fled the scene, while others were believed to have escaped with gunshot injuries. There was a particular conversation we had, and an analyst made a statement that, you know, in we had a conversation on the issue of farmer-header clash, and some states, Edo, Benue, and some of the states have said that there has to be, some states said most of these headers have to register in an organization. Some said that they have to leave the states. Ebonyi State is inclusive, saying that most of these headers have to leave the state because it's believed that some of them use that as a means to infiltrate harm to the communities. And in that instance, an analyst made a statement, and he said that for the headers to get into such communities, they can't just get there on their own. Oftentimes, they take permissions from the village heads, local government council, and whatnot, because they need to get space to settle in, you know, in that instance, that according to the analyst statement, this situation in Niger State of this village head that was arrested, allegedly harboring bandits in his community. I really don't want to say it's on that aspect of what the analyst made a statement on, but I just want to get your thoughts on this, please, Barrister Mankey.
Well, to start with, I want to correct a fraudulent impression that the government has forced through the throat of Nigerians, and it is now made a believed position, which is complete falsehood. There is nothing like farmer headers crash in Nigeria. Take it from me.
There's been situations like
this. It's a concept created by the government.
Haven't you heard of those headers, you know, having issues with farmers?
It's falsehood.
But we've heard most of those farmers make complaint over that, where these headers infiltrate their farms with their cattle and destroy their crops.
I have said it. There is an extant judgment against open grazing in Nigeria. That judgment has not been appealed. I have emphasized to every Attorney General, it's unfortunate that so-called Attorney General, I think that is the best way I would describe. So-called, I use the word, because it's annoying.
I think that open grazing situation is supposed to pass the bill.
It's a game. You don't need to pass. I said there is an extant judgment banning open grazing. It was the judgment was delivered. The matter went to court in 1966. Judgment was delivered in 1969.
Well, that means it's supposed to have taken place before now.
It is extant, and I've said the solution to this is that nobody should go and plead with, if you find any cattle on your farm, kill it. That destroy your crop. That is the only solution. Because there is an organized structure through this security.
So if there's an extant law against open grazing, why are most of those farmers allowed to rear their cattle around the communities, most of the communities?
Okay, listen. Have you heard that the federal government took any step against the revealed names of sponsors of terrorism in Nigeria? No. That's the body language. That tells you what is going on. Do you understand it? That tells you what is going on. And you will not like it. When I said some time ago about my own conspiracy theory, which is within your busy bosom, but you are not comfortable with it, and I stand by it.
No, you're not going to say that.
I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
But I said it's within your busy bosom. So any day you find, I was telling we had a discussion yesterday with somebody. There are people who believe that if you are married, you die in the marriage. I don't believe in that. Do you understand? Because your purpose is greater than marriage. Right? Most people out of ignorance die in marriage. I don't believe in that. So there is a level of knowledge you will get that will help you to move from where you stand now.
Okay, Barrister Mike, I actually quickly want to find out. So we've had stories of most of security operatives that have been apprehended, in the process of dispatching arms to most of the bandits. Village heads harboring bandits, soldiers saying, some saying soldiers release informations to bandits and all of that. What could be that push? Because these people are individuals, they are parasites that are supposed to, safeguard the peace and harmony of people that they oversee, that they lead. How come there has been that breach of trust in the part of most of these individuals, like I just made mention of? What's that drive?
Well,
because this is an alleged situation of this village head, but let's say there's actually thorough investigation gets to be conducted on this aspect, and it's actually on it that really what has happened. This village head is someone that I'm sure people run to him. This my child has been
abducted.
My farm has been invaded by most of those herders and all of that, and he has been seeing most of these things happening. But allegedly, he's been the one harboring the individuals that caused this menace into the lives of these communities. What is that reason? What is that push to a bridge in trust amongst this?
He is simply responding to the government body language.
You won't say that this individual.
You don't want to hear that?
I'm not saying you can't make a statement. You're allowed to make your statements as far as you're not going to use any hate speech in that instance. But looking at it, don't you think this individual actually acted on his personal decision?
In what sense?
By harboring most of those bandits.
You don't understand what is going on. The leaders are in greater crime against the people. I say additional under Buhari told Nigerians that it is better for them to abandon their ancestral farmlands to these terrorists rather than being killed. What can you equate with that?
So do you think that's a decision that this individual to decide to have them?
See, let me tell you. Leave Niger State alone. I mean River State here. River State here. Terrorists are operating with audacious impunity. And if you go to report, the security agents, there is a story I was reading over the weekend about somebody who was kidnapped. And the police saw where the kidnappers are and they could not get there. I'm sure you may have read that story. I'm a creative storyteller. I wrote something through calligraphy. I wrote something some time ago. I say, may Nigeria, as presently constituted, happen to you. May Nigeria, as presently constituted, never happen to you. Yes. Do you understand? I'm repeating it here. And that's my earnest prayer for every Nigerian living here. May Nigeria never happen to you. It's like praying for the world. that there should be peace in the wild. No doubt, there won't be any peace. Whenever the lion comes out or the sharks comes out, there will be a kind of commotion and a lot of life will go down. That is where we are. That is what is happening in this place. You know, some people get angry some time ago that somebody said Nigeria is a zoo. And I told people that calling Nigeria a zoo is an understatement. Because in a proper zoo, things are organized. If you have visited a zoo, a proper zoo, you will know that things are organized.
So what's that push that made this village head? Because she said about a statement that if in order to preserve your life, you have to let go of your properties for most of these bandits.
Sure.
So do you think that's a decision that
I said they are paying tax.
Taking?
They are paying. See, these people are in a helpless situation. They are paying tax to farm, and after farming, you share it with the bandits. It's all over. Do you know the number of people that have been killed since this administration came into office? It appears that Nigerians, and I'm saying it here, the body language of the present federal government is in line with IMF and imperialists who think that we are too many in this country. That's why these killings are going on unabated.
Well, does the federal government not ordered for troops to be sent to most of these communities affected?
When the troops are even accusing the Nigerian government. You see, there's an extent you deceive people. There's an extent you can even deceive your child. There's a limit. Every lie has an expiry date. So all this game they are playing, let them continue. All I pray is that may God be gracious to any individual, not to be a victim. If you become a victim of the situation in Nigeria, in fact, you may just die before you are really dead. Because we are in a messy situation. And what I tell people is, I repeat the words of J.F. Kennedy, that a system that cannot guarantee the security, that cannot guarantee the welfare of the majority,
if I'm not going to be on any side, you know, most times you've said the government cannot do everything. Individuals have responsibilities to also play in certain decision making. In this aspect of this attitude, this decision that's been taken by this man, I really don't know why you have to correlate it with the government having an affiliation with the decision of this village head, because he is an individual that could actually have taken his own decision on harboring this bandits, allegedly harboring these bandits in that community.
When the government is giving greater approval to the terrorists.
How in what sense, please?
This is the only country that is rehabilitating foreign terrorists who came to kill its citizens.
Rehabilitation of terrorists, I'm not going to say make a statement on that, but you know, sometimes when you sometimes when you say things about the government giving approval to terrorists, having affiliation with terrorists and all of that, you know, it's more like a misinformation to the public. In aspects where you're trying to refer to is the rehabilitation of these terrorists isn't what's supposed to be. Isn't that what you're trying to say?
Where is it done in the world?
But that doesn't mean the government have an affiliation with terrorists.
Okay, hold on.
That's the point I'm trying to make.
You want me to go into that part of analysis?
No, that's the point I'm trying to make. Let's not misinform when we're trying
I'm not misinforming.
Send out information.
By available facts that is on the ground, right? If you see me leaving the studio, you know there is a direct street that, you know, about your gate, right? If I go to the right hand side and you ask the security man which direction the man can take, if he told you that I took right hand side, right, you may say, okay, perhaps I intend to bus towards Open University. Do you understand? Because you know there's a way out, you won't worry yourself. But if you knew we discussed it and I tell you where I was going and he told me I took the wrong direction, they want to call me to say, perhaps I missed my way. Do you understand it? The same thing. The body language, unfortunately, so many people don't understand this. The body language is superior to what you say. Do you understand? Your body language is superior to what you say. What is the direction of this government? What is the position of this government on terrorists? I'm not talking about local terrorists, and we're not talking about thieves. We are talking about identified foreign terrorists It tells you a system that has collapsed, because the duty of the armed forces, who are now concerned about crude oil and killing the enterprising youth of the oil and gas producing area, they have abandoned the borders for terrorists to come in, and they are massacring Nigerians like fowl. Are you not aware? I'm very sorry. That's why I've always told you that I don't envy you by virtue of your position and the ongoing nonsense people that are using law as a terror weapon in this country.
You know we can't use certain words, Barrister.
I said people that are using law as terror weapon.
You said nonsense. I thought we already had an agreement. We already had agreement over such.
What is nonsense? It's what does not make sense.
Barrister Manki,
yes?
please.